Hi, this is Jody Ritz. This is another video for Clefland Knights, and this will be the gaming that took place over the last 2 weeks because November 7th got sick and then I had the election and wasn't able to game. And so the gaming that took over on November 14th is the gaming that mostly did most of this, and some of this was also done during email transactions. We last left off our heroes on Earth 210. Alex and Christopher Lord were still on the date 9 March, really early in the morning, 9 March 2016. Alex and his team, the Argonauts, they were on the asteroid, previously called asteroid M, and somewhere out here in space, and they beamed back to his ship that was floating over the St. Croix house in Monaco. All of the team was there together, and then Alex decided that he was going to take everybody back to their homes for the night and get them back together the next day. Monet St. Croix and Charles Xavier decided to stay in Monaco together to visit with her sisters, Nicole and Claudette. And then he proceeded across the Atlantic heading towards Gotham. But meanwhile, in Gotham, Christopher Lord and his team, Omega Dawn, met Alan Scott, the other Green Lantern. Yes, Alex Scott had just run across the ring, and there was a train falling, and he was using the ring to put the train off and then he also had to deal with a couple of thugs that were in the area. Christopher Lord showed up, beat up the bunch of the thugs, and recruited Alan Scott for his team. So it's real early in the morning, and from there on, we'll see next week what they're going to do on 210. Meanwhile, also in the world of Clefland, where we last left off our heroes, on day 2, Prince Carter was told by the king that there was a dragon in Clefland, and he had to take care of them. How he's going to do that, we don't know yet. Meanwhile, also in the barony, Lord Andrew in the city of Marrakesh, after interrogating Tristan Trent, told him that he would take care of Tristan Trent, and that he would be part of his family, which is a really good gesture considering that Lord Andrew was somewhat friends with Tristan's father, Dustin. In Camelot, Kyle, the scion, Kyle, the Baron's scion, Kyle, and his sister Heather flew out to check on the aqueduct. While they flew out to check on the aqueducts that bring the water, because they're supposed to be bringing water to Camelot, they felt like they were being watched, and that's all the farther we got with that story. In the march, the Marquis, as well as his brother Xander, gave orders and missions to most of their children. Very plentiful things to go over. But the Marquis in Avatalos was able to meet with his knowing and his bishop and gathering advice from them and what to do. Marquis Alex also talked with his wife Madeline on the future of their children and what they were going to do about the Camelot army that was off the coast. And meanwhile, also in the county, the Count Marcus had finally walked all the way into the city of Hastings. met a lot of the people, made it to the tavern called Baxter's. And that's where he met his knowing, asked a lot of questions of the knowing. And the knowings in this world are like an order that when anybody asks them a question, they reach into their sleeves and they can pull out these scrolls. And on these scrolls are words that are given to them by a knowing that is in another Cleflin, in another dimension, who's also played by Joel. So Joel gets to decide what those scrolls say and how those the gamers receive that information. Tempest also Count Marcus's brother Tempest, Lord Tempest, and his wife Anna Marie, or is it just Marie? Well, anyways, they meet with the shipping agency that controls all the shipping in town and finds out that they're not actually being controlled by the Count. The shipping is actually run by a company, and how they deal with that, we'll see. But Tempest and his wife took off to the nearest time spot called Skullcap. And meanwhile, in the duchy, Duke Frank and his daughter, who have Chula, have inspected his entire white castle. Glimmer Castle is what we're calling it. By the time they get done inspecting the castle, his wives show up, and his wife Zahara brings him the new captain of the guard, the man-at-arms for his ability. It's an eccentric guy called Zonar. He's going to be a real unique character to have in the castle. His son, Caleb, who he appointed in charge of the town of Media. Media is full of real short people, kind of like halflings, but they're really small people. And that's what Caleb finds out, that they're about half the size of average people are, humans. But these Media are about 3 feet tall, and they're fully grown, but that's their full height. So Caleb can use his growth shrinking powers to become the same height as them. He meets with their current sheriff, a lady known as Maddie Z. And Maddie Z gives him the sword that he will use to rule and be the new sheriff of Megia. And back in Mifflin, which is the capital of the duchy, where Frank's castle is, the Dukes Scion, Ryan, and Lord Ben Riley inspect the citadel. And the citadel was destroyed by the Olympians 60 years prior to this point. And they find one of the old suit of armors that used to patrol old Mifflin at that time. They take that armor and they bring it to the Tower of Science. And in the Tower of Science is the Marquis' son, Floki. Now, Floki is super smart and has been learning everything in each of these different cities. And now he's in the Tower of Science. He's building himself a robot with an AI. Ben and Ryan connect with him, and they bring up this robot, the suit of armor. They called him before RoboCop sort of things, but anyways, he helps them like he's gonna build something with or fix these the suit of armor, and that's where we last left off our heroes. And hopefully I'll be able to do another one next week, because we won't be gaming this Tuesday. I'll be going up to New York. So everybody have a cool one, and Oyasumi Nasai.